Sometimes, fiction becomes reality in the most chilling ways imaginable. In 1963, British author John Fowles published a novel that would later be linked to real-life crimes so disturbing, it almost felt like he had foreseen them. This is the unsettling story of The Collector, and how it eerily predicted real-world horror. First, let's talk about the book itself. The Collector tells the story of a socially isolated young man named Frederick Clegg. He is a loner, awkward, obsessive, invisible to society. One day, after winning a large sum of money, he acts on a dark fantasy to kidnap Miranda Gray, a beautiful art student he's been silently stalking for months. He doesn't want to hurt her, not at first. He wants her to learn to love him once she gets to know him. He believes, somehow, she will understand. But Miranda, desperate to escape, refuses to play along. As the days pass in her basement prison, Frederick's twisted fantasy crumbles, and what begins as a deluded love story turns into a slow descent into cruelty, control, and ultimately, death. Frederick Clegg is not your typical monster, and that's what makes him terrifying. He's not evil in the traditional sense. He's emotionally stunted, pathologically lonely, dehumanizing Miranda without fully realizing it. In his mind, he's collecting her, like the butterflies he captures and pins into glass cases. Psychologists today would likely diagnose him with a combination of obsessive-compulsive disorder, extreme attachment issues, and antisocial personality traits. What's frightening is how normal he seems on the surface, yet beneath that surface, a dangerous delusion is growing. Now here's where things get disturbingly real. Years after the novel's publication, several actual crimes appeared to mirror the story of The Collector almost exactly. Case 1. Leonard Lake and Charles Eng. In the 1980s, this criminal duo in California kidnapped, imprisoned, and murdered multiple victims. Lake even referred to his victims as possessions, mirroring Frederick Clegg's language. Case 2. Christopher Wilder. Known as the Beauty Queen Killer, Wilder abducted and killed young women across the United States in the 1980s. He had an obsession with control, beauty, and possession, disturbingly similar to Clegg's motives. Case 3. Robert Berdella, another American serial killer who kept his victims imprisoned, believing he was entitled to their bodies and obedience. In multiple police reports, investigators noted that these criminals had copies of The Collector among their belongings. In some cases, the novel seemed to serve as a dark inspiration, or even a manual. So why this book? What made it so dangerously influential? Well, psychologists point to several disturbing reasons. First, identification with Frederick criminals, especially those who are socially isolated, often see themselves in Frederick's loneliness, his sense of entitlement, and his belief that love can be forced. Then there's the validation of fantasies. Reading a fictionalized version of their dark urges, without judgment, may have, validated their behavior. And of course, the allure of control at its core. The Collector is about total control over another human being. For some, this idea became a dark obsession. Naturally, after these real-life horrors came to light, people started to ask, was John Fowles responsible? The answer is complicated. Fowles himself stated that he wrote The Collector as a warning, really an exploration of what happens when loneliness, repression, and obsession fester unchecked. He never intended it as a guidebook, he intended it as a mirror, showing society the monsters we can become when empathy disappears. Blaming the artist for the actions of the disturbed, honestly, misses the deeper message. The seeds of evil already existed, the novel merely exposed them. Today, The Collector remains one of the most unsettling psychological thrillers ever written. It forces readers to confront uncomfortable truths, how easily human beings can be dehumanized, how obsession can twist love into something monstrous, how evil often wears an ordinary face. And, chillingly, it reminds us that the gap between fiction and reality is sometimes terrifyingly thin. Thank you for exploring the haunting story of The Collector with us. If you're fascinated by the dark corners of human psychology, crime, and storytelling, be sure to subscribe and join us for more journeys into the human mind.